Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Welcome to the Week 8 Big Gun Fantasy Preview Show. This is really the week we're getting to where we see teams separating themselves and really making that first playoff push.
Let's get right to it. My first matchup of this week is Dim Dam Dogs against the newly named Let's Go Yankees.
They better get it going soon.
You better keep your name, buddy. Maybe you should go back to the Aspleplex. Maybe that would be more prone.
Who knows?
For the Yankees, this is a chance to stay in the playoff hunt. We're only in Week 8, but the picture is getting much more clear all the time for the playoffs. Right. For the Dogs, this is a chance to get back in the playoff hunt because currently they're outside of that picture. At 2-4-1, the Dogs are only a half game back of the Yankees, but are looking at the consolation bracket square in the face. Right. For the Dogs, Adrian Peterson will have to carry the load literally. That won't be easy against the Packers, who are number 3 in the league in total defense, and they average giving up less than 100 yards per game against the run. The other key for the Dogs will be Tony Romo against the Seahawks. This is big because this game is at home for the Cowboys, and the Seahawks give up over 220 yards per game in the air. Romo looked at least decent his last outing against the Falcons. Unless he hits the scoreboard at the new Texas Stadium, he should put up a fair stat line. The Yankees will counter with Aaron Rodgers, who will at least be looking for revenge against the Vikings. Green Bay will be looking for a little revenge on their own. So it could shape up to be a good matchup for Aaron Rodgers, despite the fact that the Vikings have a really stout defense. I don't see anyone, however, for the Yankees being able to offset the power players for the Dogs. In the end, I like the Dogs to get back in the playoff picture, and the Yankees to be like, we're playing the Phillies.
Well, my first game is the Po Boys at 4-3 versus Juan Tate at 4-3. Very similar matchup.
Great game.
One of these teams is going to be promoted to having a legitimate playoff bye, and the other one, the loser, is going to be just struggling to make a playoffs at all. Juan has several great matchups this week, both at running back and quarterback. He's got Peyton at home against San Francisco, Michael Turner against New Orleans, and also look for a struggling Steve Slayton. He's been putting the ball on the ground a lot lately, but he's going to put up big numbers this week. Buffalo is the worst-ranked rush defense in the NFL. Yahoo's only predicting him to have 177. I don't think 200 is out of the question.
220, baby. 220.
We could see. Now, the Po Boys, they start the other man in this week. And, the Giants kind of looked a little bit exposed last week against the Cardinals, so we have to wonder if Eli's psyche. Exactly right. But the Po Boys, they have a dynamic trio at running back. Brandon Jacobs, Marion Barber, Ronnie Brown. If you look right now through the first half of the season, if you had to pick the best running back trio, Po Boys has to be at the front of that conversation. You throw in an Austin Collie who could somewhat neutralize Juan's Peyton Manning, and I like the Po Boys to move to 5-3. This is going to be a shootout, though. It really is. If I had to pick a one matchup this week to have the most total points, it's definitely Po Boys versus Juan. Okay. But I will take the Po Boys in a close one.
Well, we'll see if we're right.
We will.
Our next matchup, I've got yours truly, T-Town Terror against the D-Boy Dominators.
I've not been terrorizing too many.
Well, you haven't. No. The Terror has been terrorized throughout this season. For 7 weeks, he's been right there.
Yeah.
Well, right there has been at the bottom of the league. On the complete other end of the totem pole has been the D-Boy Dominators. They're 6-1 on this League of Champions. Now, he doesn't lead the league in points, but, and by the way, that one.
That's you.
The two seem to be going to different directions, and they are. Especially this week. Because I see the D-Boy Dominators going down.
I like that.
Now, listen to this. I know it sounds crazy, but listen. The Dominators have great wide receivers. Steve Smith of the Giants, Anquan Bolden, and Andre Johnson. That's a pretty tough big trip. Yeah. But they all have tough matchups. Okay. The strength of the Terror is the running backs.
Well, if he has a strength.
Well, if you have a strength. Forte is playing at home against Cleveland. LT is playing at home against Oakland. Okay. And Beanie Wells is really hot right now.
Beanie Wells.
So, that's right. When you got running backs against wide receivers, that's true. I'll take running backs all day.
Every time.
Will the Dominators get outplayed only to block that 43-yard attempt in the end? I hope not, but hope is imminent, and the field goal will be true. The Terror will win this game, And the Dominators will not be in first place after this week, Kate.
I mean,
you look at number one right here, baby.
I'll take any, when your team is like mine, you take any support you can
Okay.
get. Another matchup between teams that really aren't that great right now. Bourbon Boys at 2-5, Kamikaze 3-4. Both teams really need a win to stay competitive, and it's really tough for me to talk about staying competitive in this league because this year's not been the best for me.
Right.
But for discussion's sake, Dynasty's projected to put up 186, and that looks really accurate at this point. All three of the Dynasty's running backs face teams that are in the bottom half of the NFL against the rush. The Kamikaze's running backs, they better have a big day because Kurt Warner faces the top-ranked pass defense in the Carolina Panthers. The Bourbon Boys face the prospect of dropping to the bottom of the league for the second straight
Especially
year.
when you get the win
That's
this
right.
weekend, baby.
We'll see. The Bourbon Boys, they've not been very competitive either year. This week, his team's only projected to put up 121. Several people on a bye. The running backs alone are only supposed to get a total of all three, only 39 points. Matt Ryan is kind of hitting a sophomore slump. His wide receiver core consists of Greg Jennings and Michael Jenkins, okay? It's going to be tough.
Marcus Ware gets more receptions.
You might want to pick up Mike Rebel at this point. Kamikaze in the runaway. Kamikaze by 60, 70 points. This one is a no-brainer. Vegas wouldn't even put a point spread on this
Wow,
one.
off.
Yep.
This week's start of the week for me, as we move in that direction, I've got Matt Forte hosting the Cleveland Browns. Matt Forte is going to get a lot of touches. They're going to really exploit the Browns' 31st ranked run defense.
My start of the week is going to be Mike Sims-Walker, Bird facing Tennessee. The defense is very good against the run and very poor against the pass. I expect him to be one of the top targeted wide receivers this week. And usually if you get 13, 14 targets, you're going to have a big game. And I expect that out of Sims-Walker this week.
He's got a lot of last names.
He does, very least. My sit is going to be Anquan Bolden. The Cards are facing the top-ranked passing defense. And Kurt Warner, he's getting up there in age, and it seems like Kurt Warner always has 1 or 2 games a year, throws a couple picks, fumbles a couple times. It seems like Kurt Warner's really due for one of those. So I would question starting any of the wide receivers for the Cards, but especially Anquan Bolden. He's probably going to be started in 90% plus of the league. So who are you looking to sit this week?
I'm actually going to stay in that same game, the Arizona-Carolina game in Phoenix. I like you sitting D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. Remember, I said this last week, and everybody got a little scoff. But remember, the Cardinals have the #1 ranked defense in the league. They are at 67.6 yards a game giving up on the ground. That's phenomenal. No one is even within 5 yards of that.